Hey guys, I'm glad you stopped by today. So today I thought we would do a pound cake. We haven't done a pound cake in forever, and this pound cake isn't going to be done in a bun pan, which we haven't done in forever. It's going to be done in a bread pan, and it is a lemon poppy seed bun cake, more of a dessert bread. But it's going to have a really nice. I mean, if you like lemon, this is definitely going to be the way to go. Not only do we have lemon incorporated into the bun cake itself, but we're going to put a lemon glaze on top of it, and I think it is just going to be amazing. I think it's going to represent that, you know, refreshing feeling of spring, with it now being spring, even though it hasn't really felt like it off and on for the last few days. And you know what, that's okay, because we can have spring in our heart, not necessarily outside. I think. So I think we're going to really enjoy this one, hands down. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If this is your first video, I hope you get something out of this. Maybe check out some of my other videos. If you are returning or one of our new subscribers, thank you very much and welcome back. If you haven't subscribed yet, maybe you would consider doing so, along with sharing and giving me a big thumbs up. Yeah, all of that helps out in that algorithm, keeps our community growing big and strong. Comments are always welcome. They also help us out. All I ask is you be polite. You know, it's okay to disagree with me or anybody else in the comments. Just think before you type. You know, and I respond to every comment, good, bad, or indifferent. So and that's always nice. I will give you all your measurements in tablespoons, teaspoons, and cups, along with milliliters and grams. That way, no matter who you are or where you're at, you can all play along, right? That's important, I think. So I think that's it. We covered all the basics. Lemon poppy seed pound cake. Like, subscribe, and share. Yeah, I think we're there. So why don't we head on down to the counter now, and we will get started on this wonderful pound cake. Hold on for me 1 second. All right, we are down here at the counter. So first things we need to do, go ahead and get our oven turned on, 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and grab you a bread pan, a 4x9, 4x9, and go ahead and put your piece of parchment paper at the bottom of it at least. Now, this is a non-stick, so I'm not gonna add anything to the sides, but you can butter and flour it. You can put spray in it. Either way, if you have a non-stick pan, I'd recommend not the non-stick spray. It can, I'm not gonna say it will, but it can chemically alter your non-stick, and it'll turn that like golden brown, and your pan will not be non-stick anymore, which is weird. But I mean, it won't hurt you per se, but it will take away your non-stick ability. So if it's non-stick, butter, flour, or in this case, nothing at all. If you just have a regular red pan, non-stick spray on there, good. All right, so now that we've got our oven going and we got our bread pan with a liner in the bottom of it, the next thing we need to do is we're going to take our half a cup, 120 milliliters worth of whole milk, and to that I'm going to add 1 tablespoon, about a half a gram of lemon zest, and that's just simply the yellow part of a lemon. I took a grater and ran it across it until but not hard, not heavy, and you'll feel the difference when the zest is off of it. When that outer layer is off of it, it'll feel smooth as it goes across. Stop, because if you don't, you'll get that white rind. It'll be bitter. But it's about 1 lemon's worth. So you zest 1 lemon. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put this in my milk, and then I'm going to take my milk real quick and I'm going to put it in my microwave for about 30 seconds to heat it up. Now, if you don't have a microwave, you could just put it in a small saucepan and let it warm up, but you don't need it to be hot, just warm. And what we're doing is we're infusing the taste of that lemon zest into our milk. So let me get this heated back up, let me get this warmed up, and then we can move on. All right, hold on for me 1 second. Okay, so we've got that going, warm, not hot, just warm. Lemon, set it aside. So the next thing we need to do is we're gonna mix together our dry stuff, which in this recipe also includes our sugar. Normally sugar is considered a wet ingredient. That's all right. So the first thing I got in here is I've got some flour. I've got some all-purpose flour, and I've got 1 3/4 cup, 250 gram which did not add up to me in the beginning until I realized this is one of those things I was talking about. The proper way to scoop out flour is to take a spoon and scoop it into your measuring cup. That way it doesn't get compacted. This is compacted. It's just a scoop, a 1 cup measuring scoop pulled up out of the flour in your container and leveled off. And it's compact. That's why it's off on numbers, but it's 250 grams. To this, we're going to add a 1/4 teaspoon, 1 gram of kosher salt. We are going to add 1.5 teaspoons, 6 grams of baking powder, just like such. Where's my? Get that extra out of there. Baking powder loves to stick to everything. I swear. It's like a clingy girlfriend. Just kidding. There is no such thing as a clingy girlfriend, right? So baking powder in there. Then we need 1 tablespoon of our poppy seeds, which is one of the stars of our shows, and that's 12 grams. Just like that right there. And all I can think of is the Wizard of Oz, where the witch says poppies, poppies. Some of the oddest things run through my head when I'm baking. So we'll go ahead and get those in there. And then the last thing we're going to need is 1 2/3 cup, 340 grams. If I'm not mistaken. Let me look real quick. Yep. 1 2/3 cup, 340 grams of regular plain old granulated sugar. Just like that. And then we're going to take our whisk and we'll go ahead and get this whisked together. All right, so we got our dry mixed together. We are in good shape there. So now we'll go ahead and we're going to get our wet ingredients together, which is going to involve that milk with the lemon, right? So we got 120 milliliters of milk right there. We're going to pour that in the bowl. We are going to add some almost completely melted butter. Now the reason why I say almost completely melted, it's really almost completely melted. There's like little pieces of butter in there, but you don't want it blazing hot, much like the milk, warm, because then you'll run into problems with your eggs, and because it's got eggs and it's also got sour cream, and you don't want to have issues with that, maybe cooking or curdling, things like that. So we've got our 1 3/4 tablespoons of butter at 170 milliliter. Is that correct? Yes, 170 grams going in there. And then we will need our lemon juice, 2/3 cup, 80 milliliter worth of lemon juice. Now I used fresh squeezed lemon juice, and you'll hear so many people say, oh, you have to use fresh squeezed lemon juice. If you don't have any, you don't have any. Just get some lemon juice. But it's 80 milliliter, 2/3 cup, or a 1/3 cup, 80 milliliter of lemon juice. Is that right? Yeah, 1/3 cup, 80 milliliter lemon juice. And we are going to add to that a 1/2 cup, 120 grams of sour cream. And this is full fat sour cream. And you want it at room temperature. So all your dairy, unless otherwise noted in a recipe, is almost always going to be room temperature. And you want that. It makes it easier to mix things in. That way you don't overwork stuff like your eggs. You don't want to overwork your eggs. And then we are going to add 3 large eggs, which is 150 grams worth of eggs. And then we're just simply going to take our spoon and we're going to mix this all together and break up the eggs as we go. All right, so we got our wet ingredients nice and smooth, right? Nice and combined. So now we are going to take our dry ingredients. We'll make us just a little bit of dent there in the center. Yeah, which it didn't call for that in the ingredients, but or in the directions, but it makes sense to me at any rate. And we're going to pour our wet into our dry. We can get away with this because it's a pound cake, and there's the weight of the flour outweighs the weight of the butter, which means you can reverse the process of adding the wet to the dry versus dry to the wet. I don't know exactly what makes the difference in that. Maybe you do. But I just know that's the rule, and it's called reverse something. I like reverse mixing, but I know it's not mixing. So now we're going to go ahead and get this nice and combined, so everything's smooth. All right, so we got our batter is mixed together and looking good and smooth. And look at those poppy seeds. Is that not the coolest stuff in the world? Yeah, my soon-to-be son-in-law, Brandon, actually had mentioned this, said it sounded good, and I was like, you know what, that does sound absolutely amazing. And it's not something that you ever hear about anymore. They make these in cupcake and muffin form, but you don't ever see a bundt cake form. And I thought, how wonderful would that be? So I'd like to thank him for the recipe idea, all the same. So now we're going to just take this and we're going to pour it into our bread pan here. All right, we got that in the bread pan. And look at that, doesn't that look just crazy? Looks so good. So we're going to go ahead and get this in the oven real quick. And then we're going to set our timer. This cake goes 60 to 90 minutes. Which, is that right? No. And I base this on a couple of things. It said 60 to 98 minutes in the, I'm going to start it at 60 in the written recipe, but then watching a video on it, it said an hour to an hour and 10 minutes, which is 60 to 70 minutes. So we're going to start at 60, and we'll take a look at it then and let it go in 10-minute intervals till then. Now, it may take longer. I mean, it just depends on your oven. It may take less time. It just depends on your oven. So things you'll be looking for after that 60-minute mark is it pulled away from the sides, you know, just like a cake. And we should be able to stick a toothpick or a wooden skewer into it, and it should come out free of batter, right? Maybe some crumbs, but no batter. So when I get back, I will have this out of the oven sitting on a rack, and we'll take a look at it and see what we find. All right, I'll see you here in just a second. Okay, so we went ahead, we went our 60 minutes, and now we'll go ahead and check our cake and make sure that we don't have any batter coming out on the toothpick, and we don't. I actually switched it up to skewers. Look at the size of that bad boy. But we don't have anything on there, just like, again, I don't think you can ever see it, but there's just a little bit of crumb on there, but no batter and no moisture. And that's kind of what we're looking for. So now I'm gonna let that rest for about 10 minutes in the pan, and then after that, I'm gonna pull it off, go ahead and flip it out, get it out, and let it cool down to room temperature. But when I come back, we'll go ahead and make the glaze that's gonna go on top of this. So we've got it cool, sitting over here. It's not room temperature yet, but it's slightly warm. That's fine. It'll be okay to eat slightly warm. So in this small bowl here, I've got 1 cup, 130 grams of powdered sugar. And in this glass here, the recipe called for 1.5 lemons worth of juice, which I have gotten a total of 6 tablespoons, almost 7 out of it. And what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna pour in half of this and go ahead and get it mixed up. We're gonna make our icing, but we want it to be obviously not super thick, but not really runny either. And it does not take a lot of juice with powdered sugar to make a good glaze. So we'll start out with the half of that, about 3 tablespoons. And if we need to, which it looks like we're gonna need to, I'll add a little bit more at a time as we go. All right, so I'm going about 4 tablespoons worth, and there's where we stand. See how it's just got a nice, you know, it's pourable, hands down, but it's not super runny. I mean, and you'll kind of know, and you can make it to, you know, your specifications, really. You want it a little thicker, a little thinner. But we're gonna go ahead and pour this on here, and then we're gonna give it a second to, you know, kind of settle and get a little bit of a crust on it, and then we can try a piece. All right, here we are. I think we are looking fabulous. Myself, still a little warm, but see how it's got a nice shell on the top of it, and I guarantee it's still a little gooey underneath it, but that's all right. I've been waiting all day to try this bad boy. So we can go ahead and get us a piece cut, and then we can give it a try. I'll even take an end piece. Unlike some people, I'm not scared of an end piece. I don't mind it at all. You have to excuse the giggle box in the background. Abby does so like to giggle, but that's all right though. Nothing wrong with giggling, right? There are worse habits to get into. But see the nice density of that pound cake in there? I like it. Yeah, it looks good so far, right? with that giggle box. There's a look at the end piece there. I think will be in like flint, so to speak. All right, let's give this bad boy a try. Looks good. Yeah, I'm gonna shut up and try a piece. What do you think? That. Is so moist. And still just a little bit warm. That is a crazy good pound cake. Pound cakes are dense. It's dense. Pound cake should be moist. It is moist. It's got, you can taste the poppies. You can taste the lemon. It's not overly sweet, and I was afraid it would be just because of all the sugars. But, oh, that is, I'm here to tell you, that is something. Give this one a try. You're not going to be disappointed. It is moist. It is tender. It's dense, but it's not overly dense. And which is what you want in a pound cake. Pound cakes aren't light and fluffy. They're just not. And that is a perfect balance of everything. The sweet, the tart. Like I said, you can taste the poppies in it. Yeah, that's just an awesome pound cake. If you do give this a try, let me know. Or if you have a similar recipe, you want to tell us about, let us know. That's what we're here for, right? That's part of being a community. Or if you don't want to here, we have our Facebook group. Hands down, you can go there. Or even, my page personally, whichever. It's not like my page is a big secret. It's public and it's under Brian Smith. And we like to have the discussions like that. On all the formats. They're fun to do. It's fun to talk about baking, cooking, everyday life. It's part of being a community and looking out for one another. Next week, don't forget live stream Thursday at 7. I'm not exactly sure what our agenda is going to be. Did you hear those guys? I'm not sure what our agenda is going to be, but when I do figure it out, I'll put it in the community tab here on YouTube and probably throw it on the group over at Facebook. And if you're so inclined, we also have a business page on Facebook. Check it out. It's really cool. It just was redone and looks really good and professional and has all kinds of cool stuff on it. So next week, live stream, 7 o'clock on Thursday. And I hope to see all of you there. Last week was fun, hands down fun. It was good times. But until then, I love you. I love you very much, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Tell somebody else that you love them and love them very much. They may need to hear it. It's going to make them smile either way it goes. It's going to make you smile and feel good to tell them. I guarantee you that. And if you make them some of this lemon poppy seed pound cake, I guarantee you they're going to smile, ear to ear. It's going to be a grin. And that's going to lead to hours of conversation with a piece of good pound cake, maybe a cup of coffee, or even a glass of lemonade. Top it off and make it balanced. So, until next week, I love you, and I will see you then. All right? See you later. Bye-bye.